and welcome to our kids service. We're so excited for you to see everything that we have for you. But before we do that, we need you to stand up, make some room, because we're gonna jump into some worship.
He's the one who makes the sun shine. He's the one who puts the moon in the sky. He's the one who hung the stars one by one. He's the one who makes the birds sing. He's the one who makes your dreams so high. He's the one who makes me smile. Day by day, Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Spider-Man. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Superman. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Batman. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than anyone. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Spider-Man. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Superman. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Batman. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than everyone. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend.
Where did I put that? I need that for the party this afternoon. Where did it go? Where did it? Oh, there it is. Nothing says party like a party hat. There we go. Hello, my joyful friends. We have had such a fun time starting the party this summer, and there's still more to come. All summer, we've been talking about how we can live with joy. But what's joy? Joy is choosing to celebrate what God is doing. Joy can be a lot like happiness, but happiness comes and goes, doesn't it? Happiness depends on whatever is happening in our life at the time. If everything's going great, we're happy. If everything's not going great, we're not happy. But joy is different. Joy is something that is always possible because God is always at work in our lives. One really cool thing about joy is that you can spread joy to the people around you. Before we get into our Bible story today, let's start with our big answer. And what is the big answer? It's the answer to the big question. This is the question that you should get from that important adult in your life, and that is, what did you learn in kids' church today? And our big answer for today is you can help others find joy. And our memory verse for this series comes from the book of Philippians. And it says, always be joyful because you belong to the Lord. I'll say it again, be joyful. Philippians 4:4. The New Testament in the Bible has several letters that were originally written by Jesus followers to other Jesus followers in different places. Many of these letters were written by the Apostle Paul. One of the letters is known as the book of Romans because Paul wrote it to encourage the believers in Rome. Paul had never actually met these Jesus followers, but he prayed for them often and he hoped to visit them soon. Paul wanted the Romans to understand that because of what Jesus had done for us, we can show God's love to others. And as we do that, as we show God's love with our words and our action, something important happens. We can help others find joy. In his letter, Paul shared how people who follow Jesus are set free from sin, from the wrong things that they've done. And because of that, their lives can look totally different. Here's how Paul put it in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Don't live the way the world lives. Let your way of thinking be completely changed. Then you will be able to test what God wants for you, and you will agree that what he wants is right. His plan is good and pleasing and perfect. Let's read that first part again. Don't live the way the world lives. Let your way of thinking be completely changed. That's it. As we follow Jesus, God begins to change the way that we think, and that starts to change the way we treat people around us. Paul goes on later to say this in verse 10. Love one another deeply. Honor others more than yourselves. We can show love to other people by honoring them and putting them first. Paul then shared a really important way that we can do that. In Romans chapter 12, verse 15, he said, be joyful with those who are joyful. Be sad with those who are sad. Did you catch that? Paul wrote, be joyful with those who are joyful and be sad with those who are sad. What Paul is describing was something called empathy. It means that you imagine what someone else is feeling and you think about how it would feel if it happened to you. It's kind of like you're putting on someone else's shoes. For example, let's say your friend feels excited about something, but in that moment, maybe you don't feel quite as excited as your friend does. Maybe you don't really get why he's so excited. Maybe whatever he's excited about isn't that thrilling to you. Or maybe, if you're honest, you're feeling a little jealous that everything seems to be going so well for him and not so much for you. Even so, look at what you could do. You could kick off your shoes and put his shoes on. I'm not saying that you actually put his shoes on, but you could choose to feel what he's feeling. You can share in his excitement. You can be joyful with him. This is a great way to share God's love with someone and bring even more joy when they're feeling happy and joyful. But what about the other side? What about when someone isn't feeling so joyful? Can we put on someone else's shoes in those moments too? Remember what Paul wrote. Be joyful with those who are joyful and be sad with those who are sad. Let's say your friend is feeling sad because they got some bad news. Let's think about how you can maybe be a friend to them. It probably wouldn't feel great to your friend if in that moment you chose to celebrate something when your friend is going through a hard time. I think we all know how it feels to be sad about something. It's like we're stumbling along through the puddles on a dark, wet, rainy day. So when your friend feels sad, you can put on their shoes and feel sad with them. I think we all know how good it feels when a friend is there to help us, right? When someone is sad, sometimes the very best thing that you can do is to just be with them and let them know that you see how they feel. Sometimes people need someone to be sad with them for a while so that they're able to find joy again later. It's important that we learn to share joy with others in the way that Paul described, by being joyful with people who are joyful and by being sad with people who are sad. It's a lot like we're putting on someone else's shoes, right? We can choose to feel what they feel and let them know that they're not feeling those feelings alone. You can share someone's joy when everything is going great for them. You can be there for someone when they're sad. You can be part of helping them find joy, even if it doesn't happen right away. And that's an amazing way that you can share God's love with others. We can use the imagination God gave us to do so many amazing things. But one of the most important ways that we can imagine is by thinking about what someone else is feeling. We can then choose to feel the same way ourselves. Who remembers what this is called? Right, yeah, empathy. Good job. If we can do what Paul wrote in his letter and feel what others feel, then God can do something pretty amazing through us. We'll be able to help others find joy. Think about the way that Jesus treated people. He showed love and compassion for others, especially those who felt left out. He cared about the needs for people around him. When we choose to follow Jesus, we can learn to see and respond to others just like Jesus did. Remember, we don't experience joy just for ourselves. Joy is something that we're meant to share. When someone you know is happy, celebrate with them. When you notice someone is sad or lonely, don't just walk past them. Talk to them, or maybe just listen. Choose to just be with someone when they're feeling down. You might even help them be able to find joy later. It can be tough to think about others instead of just thinking about our own needs and our own feelings. But God can help us. We can ask God to help us choose empathy and help someone else find joy. Just like our big answer says, you can help others find joy. I'm going to help some others find joy by going and finding some people to invite to this party, because we can't just have it by ourselves. All right, I'll see you guys next week.
It's time for Memory Verse Breakdown!
Hey kids, today we're going to break down this week's memory verse. Are you ready? Okay, here's this week's memory verse. Think you've got it? Try saying it out loud. All right, let's take some words away. You think you still got it? Try saying it out loud again. All right, let's bring those words back in and see how you did. Did you get it right? Awesome! Well, that's this week's memory verse breakdown. How'd you do?
Memory Verse Breakdown!
Hey there, everyone! Who's ready to have a race right here, right now? Ooh, I know I am. Okay, here's how it will work. There will be 5 laps. Each lap requires you to answer a question about a book of the Bible. For each question, you'll be given 2 actions to choose from. 1 action represents the correct answer, and 1 action represents the wrong answer. If you choose the wrong action, then please take a seat and cheer your teammates on. If you choose the right answer, you're still racing and can move on to the next question. Everybody got it? Good! Go ahead and jump to your feet. Let's get this race started. To complete lap number 1, you must answer this question. Is the book of Genesis from the Old Testament or the New Testament? Wave your hands over your head for Old Testament, or jump up and down for New Testament. Time's up. Genesis is in the Old Testament. If you were waving your hands, you finished the first lap. If you were jumping, please take a seat. To complete lap number 2, you must answer this question. Is the book of Revelation from the Old Testament or the New Testament? Spin in a circle for Old Testament, or hop on 1 foot for New Testament. Time's up. Revelation is in the New Testament. If you were hopping on 1 foot, you finished 2 laps. Only 3 more to go. Here's the question for lap number 3. Is the book of Ruth from the Old Testament or the New Testament? Do jumping jacks for Old Testament, or flap your arms like a bird for New Testament. Time's up. Ruth is in the Old Testament. Everyone doing jumping jacks is still in the race. All you flapping birds out there, please take a seat. Here's the question for the fourth lap. Is the book of Micah from the Old Testament or the New Testament? Spin in a circle for Old Testament, or jump up and down for New Testament. Time's up. Micah is in the Old Testament. If you are spinning in circles, you are probably super dizzy. But you made it to the final lap. You've just got one more question to answer to win the race. Is the book of Jude from the Old Testament or the New Testament? Flap your arms like a bird for Old Testament, or jump up and down for New Testament. Time's up. Jude is in the New Testament. If you were jumping, then you can keep jumping for joy because you just won gold. Woohoo! What an exciting race. Ooh, I'm so pumped I think I'm going to go run a marathon. No, except, ouch, I think I just pulled something. Maybe I better go ice this. Anyway, congratulations to all our winners. Thanks for playing, everyone.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Before you leave, have that important adult in your life go to lifechurchgreenbay.com/kids, where you can grab our Kids Connect card. There you can discuss our big answer, memory verse, and even more. We love you so much. Have a great week.